guys. We're back.
We're back. I didn't think about this, but we're on another porch, so
Yeah.
porch talks.
Yeah, porch talks. Kind of have to come outside because kiddos all up in the house, you know.
Yeah.
So, in order for you guys to hear us, we have to be on the porch.
Yes, so hopefully you can hear us well, and if not, please let us know.
Yeah. So, we came back because we didn't get to finish the speeches that were said that we want to reread.
Mm-hmm.
And we didn't get to finish talking about all the stuff that we needed to talk about. We didn't get to give you our thoughts on the board meeting and what exactly went down. So let's go ahead and start with that.
Okay. So overall, I really genuinely hope that the board took in some of the things that we said into consideration. There was a theme throughout all 5 of our talks, right? All 5 of our speeches. And that was the main theme was communication.
Mm-hmm.
We really want to establish that communication with the school, not just between parents, but between taxpayers, between teachers, and for them, all of us, to have an open dialogue with the school, because right now it doesn't feel that way. And well, it just isn't that way.
And there's just so much that we were trying to get across, but yet make the same consensus in what we were saying.
Yeah.
So we were trying to bring across the open forum topics, because that is one of the main things we're pushing for. And we were trying to make sure they realize that the communication has been broken down in this school district between parents and between the administration and the board. I mean, it's almost non-existent.
Yeah.
So, and like we said, roadblocks everywhere. Every time anybody says anything or does anything, they get blocked by Lana. That's just it. I mean, if they're not blocked by Lana, they go to each of the administrators, and normally they will get blocked. That's just how it is. We've heard from a lady that actually had to reach out to the board members and all of that, and that still really didn't get her anywhere until Lana finally conceded. So those things happen, and this is, I mean, pressure had to keep being put on just to get something done. And
it shouldn't have to be.
No, it shouldn't have to be where we are feeling like we have to go up there every day just for something to get done.
Yeah.
Or be calling every single day just for something to get done.
Yeah, and like in Bobby's case and my cousin's case, with the hours, which we'll do a speech about that here in a little bit, but gosh, it was a lot of back and forth with Mrs. Heine on to even get anything accomplished there.
Well, yeah, with the makeup hours. Yeah. I mean, they're just so ridiculous with these makeup hours and how they can just choose to tack on more hours whenever it seems like. I mean, I really think they use them as a retaliation technique for sure. But also, we want to let you guys know that we timed Bobby's speech.
We did.
Down to the wire. Because there was a few interruptions in there.
On that page.
We stopped it when he got interrupted, of course, because that's what they're supposed to do. You're supposed to get your time stopped. They're supposed to strike it from the time because it was an interruption. And they want to play by the rules, and that's what they keep quoting and saying, is that they're doing it by the rules, by the rules. Well, they didn't strike his time, strike those seconds or even that minute from his time. And when we timed the whole thing, it came out to 4 minutes and 47 seconds.
Yep.
So under his 5 minutes.
That's a 13-second time difference, right? And so we're willing to concede, a few seconds on, stopping and starting, right? And just trying to make sure he was within that window. And he was. He was within the window. Had they not interrupted him. But because they did interrupt him, he was outside his time, which is not fair. But honestly, they shouldn't even allowed him to speak at the beginning. He was on the agenda. So this is one thing I want to make clear. On the agenda, when we looked at the agenda, there was 3 spots. And when we went in and talked to Lana, we requested for all 4 of us to speak. Bobby said clearly he was going to speak on policy KK for the sex offender.
He didn't even say that. He just said policy.
He did.
He left it round. That way anybody could bring up a policy that they wanted to go over, because he knew that I wanted to say something about the makeup hour policy, because the attendance policy, because I think it's ridiculous that our middle schoolers are subjected to what the high schoolers have to go through because of credits.
Right.
Our kids don't have credits. So.
Right. So he was going to speak on policy. Miss Irma was next, and she said she was going to speak on community involvement and a few other things. But her main point, she said, was community involvement. And then I said I was going to speak on the assistant principal situation for Birch Tree Elementary and Mountain View. And then Rochelle said she was going to speak on transparency. We were very clear what we were going to speak on. So then it was pretty shocking when we went and looked at the agenda, and there was only 3 spots for 3 of us to speak. And also the titles were really weird. And so we didn't understand who was speaking about what, even though my title was pretty easy to decipher. Actually, we have that paper, I think, right here. Maybe?
No, I don't remember what but it was something about the principal situation on there. And then me and Irma's was combined, transparency.
Yeah,
and
but we didn't
principal.
know it was combined, so we were confused and trying to figure it out. So we told Bobby, well, you could just speak in the comments section or whatever they call it.
Yeah, because we thought they had split us up and just put Irma under something crazy.
Yeah.
Is what happened. And so we thought he was getting striked from talking altogether.
Yes, because we didn't know. And nobody told us. Nobody told us. Lana didn't pull us aside and tell us. Did Bobby go up there and get the agenda from her?
Oh, yeah.
Bobby went up there and got the agenda. And they didn't tell him. Did he get it from Lana?
I don't know if he got it from Lana.
But still, he wasn't informed that all 4 of us wasn't speaking.
I mean, they had plenty of time. They had a whole month.
Yeah.
That they could have told us, and they didn't.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it would have taken a phone call. And my husband had a meeting with her before then about some other stuff that had happened in the school. And I'll go ahead and talk on that in a minute.
Yeah.
But she could have. There was plenty of time.
Yeah. And so they didn't bother to tell us. Or she didn't. And so then we were left confused. And so Bobby stood up at the beginning.
And ate up public comment time.
So in the public comments, because he didn't know. And so then Lana said, yes, he was on the schedule for speaking. And Bobby sat down. Well, then they went on ahead and told him that he could stand up and speak. And they should not have done that, because he ate up public comment time that other parents who were there, who were concerned, could have spoke.
And had things in their hands to speak. So.
Yes. So, I mean, it was kind of silly.
It was very silly.
So then, when it came down to it, I spoke. And then she said, well, I put you and Irma on the same topic. And so you guys only have 5 minutes. So then I asked, wait, do they have 5 minutes each? Because that's what they originally thought. And they're like, oh no, they have to split the 5 minutes.
So Michael Orchard, I'm sorry, but he didn't really know what was going on either. because he automatically said no, and so did Eric Wells. I think he automatically said no. And so they didn't even, I guess, speak to each other about what was going on. I that's what the consensus is.
We were all confused.
And then in the end, I guess he ended up allotting us the 5 minutes, but I'm not sure if we each got 5 minutes.
Well, no, you guys didn't, because your speech, you didn't even get to say all of it. Irma just did a brief synopsis. She barely even read her speech. So, but anyways, but this is my thing. So because Bobby spoke in public comment, you would think that they would have given that time
to us,
to Rochelle and Irma, but they didn't.
No.
And so, anyways, Rochelle and Irma went up there and spoke, and they had to speak on the, underneath the same time limit. To be fair, Michael did let her go over some, and he said he would, which we appreciated. But Lana should have informed us that there was only 3 spots, because that really, we thought everybody had 5 minutes, and
now we are wanting to tell you guys that another thing that they kept, and you see it in the video, they interrupted us about this sunshine law. They interrupted us several times about this sunshine law, and it turns out they don't even have their facts right. The sunshine law prohibits them from speaking out about personnel.
Like saying a name?
Yes, from saying a name. They cannot speak out about certain personnel or mention names. It does not behold the public from speaking names. We are allowed to speak whatever names that we choose. We are the public, and in public comments, we are allowed to speak the names that we choose. So they
just can't comment on it, is what you're saying.
They cannot comment on anything that has to do with personnel.
Yeah.
So, which they didn't really comment on anything anyways. I mean, you guys seen the video. They didn't really comment on much except for Irma's voting thing, that why they vote or why they are school board members.
Yeah. And they, Michael thanked us at the end and stuff. So,
yes,
I mean, he did.
He did thank us at the end. So,
and,
we appreciated that.
Yes, we did. And so, our overall thoughts is, things aren't going to change overnight. These things take time to change, and some communication needs to be involved. And so we want you guys to know we are actively doing that behind the scenes. We have proven numerous times that we are not just keyboard warriors.
Yeah.
Okay? The comment was made,
by someone in the school.
Yes. So
to her class, by the way.
So the thing about it is Bobby has worked tirelessly on this situation to try and get consolidation papers. He has called, and Rochelle has called, state representatives, Desi. We've called numerous people, and they have been doing a phenomenal job.
Thank you.
Trying to get a hold of these people.
Trying so hard. We have called Lana so many times. We have tried to talk to these people so many times. We've had to talk to Miss Heine, trying to figure out things, but
so you have actively done things, and Cody, he has actively.
Cody Kimbrough.
Emailed our school board on the things that happened last night. Yeah. And
I didn't send them to you.
That's okay.
We were going to read them for you.
Yeah, maybe we'll do that in another live. I mean, this might happen a few times. So,
they are going to do what benefits them. People need to remember this when it's time to vote. Yes, Vicki, you are so right.
Yes.
You are so right. People need to know, this is what Miss Irma was talking about in her speech. People need to know who they're voting on, and people need to know why they're running, and people need to look at the past history and see, do I really want to vote for that person again. I mean,
yeah, because ultimately you've got to look at, okay, so who are they hiring, right? So, like, who was in office at the time that Mrs. Heine was promoted to principal, right? Because she was a vice principal when the whole sex offender thing happened with her husband, and, you know, and then they elevated her to principal. You know, I mean, that was a pretty crazy, crazy choice to make. Considering you're giving her more authority over the school, and now because they chose not to answer on that, Cody did get back a response from the president, Michael Orchard.
Yes.
And his response about that situation was that they had done an investigation on that. I guess when rumors must have come up.
But how would we know?
Right.
They don't let their public know anything that's going on. If, I'm just going to say this broadly, if an investigation was actually done, why, if nothing was found, did they not go ahead and release that to the public?
Right. Yes, because that would have calmed parents' fears
and
right?
mistrust that we were feeling, right? I mean, so much mistrust has been thrown around. Parents are feeling like their kids need to be pulled out. So there's just a lot there. And if they would have just came out and addressed, I mean, it's not that hard to address things, but apparently it is. I mean,
so
who knew?
So anyways, yeah.
So we got off a little bit.
Anyways, we're trying, right? So that's the point. We are making these connections. We are trying to go through the right channels to be able to have a voice and for them to understand where we're coming from and the things that we're not happy about. So with that being said, we want to encourage any parent or teacher that wants to have a voice but can't speak up for fear of losing your job or fear of retaliation against your children. We want you to know that we are here for you, and we will keep your secret.
Yes.
We will not tell anybody your name.
Nope.
And because we think that you deserve to have a voice.
Well, I mean, it's like we said, we are advocating for the teachers. We are advocating, and we are trying to let them have a voice because we know that they can't speak because of fear of retaliation and fear of losing their livelihood. And, I mean, you all went to school for so many years just to become a teacher, so the fear is real. The fear is real, and there's no way, we will tell you, there is no way that people will know if you reach out to us. There's no way, because we hold some secrets, okay? We just hold some secrets. That's just how it is, because I mean, this district has
there's a lot of stuff over the years that's happened. But.
Yes, and it has a history of bullying.
Yes.
So
okay. So you want to go ahead and read, you want me to read Cody's speech of what his issues were, or our issues in general, right?
Yeah.
So I'm going to read what Cody read to the school board meeting last night, because we didn't get to read what he said today when we did the live, and it's important. These are important things. He said he wanted to speak on transparency when it comes to the community and parent involvement. Good evening, members of the board. I'm here tonight to speak on the importance of community and parent involvement in our schools. Recently, our school's field day was moved from the Birch Tree Elementary grounds to Mountain View football field. Historically, parents have always been welcome to attend field day at Birch Tree. However, this year, with the event held at Mountain View, parents were not allowed to participate. If relocating field day to Mountain View means excluding parents from being involved, then I strongly urge the administration to reconsider holding it there in the future. Parent involvement is a crucial part of our children's education experience, not just academically, but socially and emotionally as well. I understand the administration has cited safety concerns as a reason for limiting parents' participation. However, to my knowledge, there has never been an opportunity for parents to complete background checks to address this safety concern, because we know other schools do that. If funding is an issue, I believe many parents would be willing to contribute either through a fundraiser or paying for their own background checks individually. I know I would. We as parents want to be a part of our children's school experiences, whether it's attending classroom parties, joining them for lunch on Parents' Day or Grandparents' Day, or simply being present for school events. What we are asking is for a collaborated solution, not a blanket denial. Unfortunately, many of us feel we have not received clear answers or seen any proactive steps towards increasing parent involvement. Instead, we're consistently told it's a safety concern without further discussion. I respectfully ask this board and administration to make a more active role in addressing these concerns. Let's work together to find reasonable, safe solutions that don't exclude parents, but instead foster a stronger school community. Thank you for your time and consideration.
So that came about, and I did cover a little bit on that other video about that.
But it's good to reiterate it.
But it's good to reiterate that they are taking our rights away slowly. Slowly, they are taking parents out of the school system and not allowing them in. And this is a public school, so that should mean that the public is allowed in, but it does not. And I understand that these times have changed, and I get that there are safety concerns. Look at the pedophile situation, okay?
For real.
So there are real safety concerns. So we're trying to give them a solution to these safety concerns and put forth the effort. I know that we have a PTO, and I know that even if they can't, the parents could get together, we could do some fundraising, we could get the money, and have a budget for just parents that want to be involved, and set aside this money for these parents. If you can't afford to pay it yourself and you still want a background check to try to be involved, I think that is something that is valid and that should be really looked into. But again, we've heard nothing about that. I know that at one point in time, it was talked about. No, I'm sorry. It wasn't talked about that there was background checks to be done. Only certain people, like
Who's volunteering for the school, like
PTA volunteering, or people that come in, like Miss Irma would.
For tutoring or something?
For tutoring. Okay. They can get a background check.
Which is understandable.
Right. But people like parents have never been offered that. Mm-hmm. So that we could be in the school with our kids. Mm-hmm. So, and we miss that. We miss the parent involvement, the parties, the grandparents' day, the eating lunch with our kids. They were always so happy. Emotionally, our kids need that support. They want to show us the things that they're doing in school. Mm-hmm. They want us to be involved. Mm-hmm. So I really think that what Cody was saying in his speech is very valid, that we should have and get a say in our children's life in school.
Yeah. and to be a part of it and get to know the teachers and, you know.
Yes.
So.
Yes, definitely. So now
You're going to read
I'm going
Mom's
to
speech.
read Janita's speech.
Yep.
Okay. I want to speak on transparency. Good evening, members of the board. I am here tonight to address the transparency of policy that was forced onto our children without any input from the very people it affects the most, the parents and the children. I'm talking about the makeup hours, part of the attendance policy for middle schoolers. A decision made behind closed doors without discussion, without transparency, and without regard for the well-being of our students. First, let us call this what it is. Punishment disguised as policy. You are using makeup hours not to support our students, but to retaliate against them, and it is wrong. Let me give you an example. My granddaughter had a valid doctor's note for every single absent last semester. Every single one. But because that note didn't list specific dates and instead followed the doctor's standard wording until fever-free, she was still slapped for with makeup hours. She was punished for being sick. Punished for following medical advice. When was it implemented into this policy that you will no longer accept doctor's notes? That is, accept on your terms and your stipulations. I can assure you parents were not consulted or included in that decision. Does that sound like a system designed to help kids? Or does it sound like a system designed to control them? You've taken away every joy that school is supposed to bring. No dances, no field trips, no extracurriculars, all because of a few missed days. You are stripping students of the very things that motivate them to show up and belong. And for what? This isn't high school where credit hours are required for graduation, although the word credit shows up in your attendance policy quite frequently. These are middle schoolers. They do not have credits. This policy isn't just unnecessary, it's cruel. You say it's justified. You claim it's about accountability. Well, let me tell you what it's actually doing. It's fueling anxiety attacks. It's sending children to the emergency room over missed dances and missed field trips. It's causing parents to pull their children out to go to homeschool. It's turning school into a place of punishment, not learning. 2 weeks of summer school for 10 hours of makeup, that's absurd, it's punitive, and it's excessive, and it's damaging. We as parents were not consulted, we were not included, and we will no longer stay silent while you punish our children and grandchildren under the guise of policy. Let's call this what it is. You wanted a way to punish the parents and the children for excessive absences. Let's just read something from the current attendance policy. The educational loss resulting from absences from class, which cannot be adequately measured or cannot be entirely regained through makeup hours, is the rationale for this attendance policy. I would argue that it can be measured. Let me present to the board Ashlyn's report card, in which we encouraged her to do whatever it took to keep her grades up, and she did. She has not one failing grade on her report card, yet you would have failed her because she had makeup hours if we did not comply to your 2 weeks of summer school. We demand that this makeup hours policy be reevaluated immediately. We want a seat at the table before any further changes that affect our children are made, and we demand that the emotional, physical, and well-being of our students be placed ahead of rigid, one-size-fits-all punishment. Enough is enough. Thank you.
Yep. And we have Ashlyn's report card, and we'll screenshot that and put that.
I might be able to show y'all.
Okay. And
I don't know if you can see that, but she's a straight A student. She had some C's and she brought those up. Still having 20 hours of makeup. because she got sick with strep throat 3 times. So, I mean, and we ended up making them up because she wanted to go on a field trip because, well, we were going to pull her out. We were going to homeschool, to tell you the truth. But that didn't mean I was going to stop fighting, because obviously someone needs to fight.
Yeah. But there are there were parents last year that pulled their kids out over a few things, and one of those things
was makeup hours
because of the way that they do it. And then when you try to talk to Mrs. Heine,
well,
it goes nowhere.
It's all at their discretion, okay? Ashlyn, they told Ashlyn that she had 20 hours of makeup hours. Well, then she did 2 days of makeup hours, and all of a sudden it was wiped clean. She was told that she didn't have to go to summer school or anything, that it was all wiped clean because she did those 2 days of makeup hours for 20 hours. So it makes no sense. And then we have another person that has told us that her daughter had 16 hours of makeup hours, and then she'd not missed any school, and she got another letter saying that she owed 24 hours of makeup hours.
And her daughter didn't get to go to the school dance either.
And her daughter didn't get to go to the school dance either. Mm-hmm. And she was, she said she had missed no days in between them. But her parents had been speaking out with Lana and all of them, and they had called and talked to Miss Heine, and so it just seems like they're giving them to whoever they want, or they're taking away whenever they want. Mm-hmm. I mean, they're using this as a punishment. You can't, there's no other way to say that, because she had not missed another day, yet got another day tacked on.
Yeah. And then you had, there's so much miscommunication with these hours, because you were trying to get hours made up so she could go to the field trip.
Yeah.
And then one person told you that was possible, that she could do those makeup hours. And
so
she
the front office, we called the front office, mm-hmm. and Bobby talked to Destiny, which we love Destiny, but this is what happened. We talked to Destiny, and she said that Ashlyn had those 2 days to make up, and as long as she went to those 2 days of makeup hours, that she would be good, mm-hmm. good to go. Mm-hmm. Well, then we got a letter in the mail saying that Ashlyn owed makeup hours, and that she would still have to come and make up so many at summer school, do the 2 weeks of summer school, or do the girls' PE for 9th grade. So then my husband called her back, and he said, well, I talked to you about the makeup hours. You said we were all good. She said, oh, did you talk to Miss Heine? He said, no, ma'am. I talked to you, and you said we were all good. Mm-hmm. And so then she said, well, you're going to have to talk to Miss Heine. So there again, another breakdown of communication that right. didn't happen. They didn't communicate mm-hmm. with each other. And this is what we're talking about. If you can't communicate with your front office, then who are you communicating with? Honestly, right?
And honestly, it's unfair when one person tells you one thing and then you think that that's how it's going to go. Just like when we started this video, we talked about how Lana had told us that all 4 of us would get to speak and put us all 4 on the agenda, and then when it came down to it, only 3 of us were on the agenda. So they're saying one thing and they're doing another, which
well, I mean, it's just it came down to it. We were all on the agenda, but she had did it in a way, but we didn't know that. So it caused mass confusion on our part and their part, because even the board members didn't know. But I mean, this all falls back again to communication, and they can't communicate with each other. So, and then we did call Miss Heine, and Miss Heine said that no, that she would still have more hours even after the 2 days, so that she would have to go to PE. But then, like I said, we called up there again, and nope, she was told she was all good. She was all good after she did those 2 days. So it's their own, like, they're making up the rules as they go.
Yeah, and then that one parent that had the 16 hours. I mean, they're pulling all of their kids out of school because they're just done. They're done. They're fed up with just everything. They're fed up with trying to communicate with Heine.
I think she went through a whole lot. Like, her daughter went to ISS and all kinds of stuff.
But still, I mean, on top of it all, right?
No, I meant that she went to, like, OSS or something to make up hours. Or something like that. And then they came back and basically said that she didn't make up any hours, even though she went to there to make up hours.
No, I think they had I think that she was in a resource class or something.
Yeah, well,
it doesn't matter. The point of it is.
I mean that the communication was broke down. Still, that she had went to some class to make up hours specifically, and then they acted like she hadn't made up any hours.
Yeah.
So,
You're right.
At their own discretion, they get to decide who has to make up hours and who doesn't.
Yeah. So this is like a really important conversation for the parents that are going through those situations. And it happens in high school as well as it does in middle school. It's just, we're getting middle school parents talking to us about that. Because
moral of the story is, if your kid misses, write it down on a calendar. I'm just saying, write it down on a calendar so you know all your days, because they're going to try to use it against you. Mm-hmm. They just will. So, moving on from that we just kind of covered this, the fact that they can change the rules whenever they want. So, I know this one's kind of petty because it happened today. But Ashlyn bought a hat, a red, white, and blue hat, because she was going to hand out red American flags, and she did, for the last day of school. So she bought a hat specifically to wear, and she knew she only had to pay $1, because Friday is hat day. You could pay $1 to wear a hat. Well, because they had some type of all black out or whatever, she wasn't allowed to wear her hat.
Because she wasn't wearing black.
Because
other kids were allowed to wear the hat because they had on black.
Yeah, as long as you're wearing black, you could wear a hat.
Yeah.
But she didn't wear black because she wanted to match red, white, and blue, because that's what she was doing. She was handing out flags. So, again, this just goes back to, they can change the rules whenever they want about whatever they want. I mean, they were told at any time, they bring $1 on Fridays, they can wear a hat. But today, she wasn't allowed to wear her hat.
Yeah.
So, and we had specifically got it just for that. So,
yep.
Anyways, I think
that's
a wrap.
Yep. So we just wanted to go over those two speeches, really, that we didn't get to do on our first live we did, because we were having audio issues from the board meeting, and people couldn't hear what was read. Yeah. And so we just wanted to read our speeches so everybody knew what we were kind of talking about. For the people that have messaged us certain things they wanted brought up, you know who you are, and we will bring those things up. But, it's kind of hard to fit everything into 5 minutes. Trust me, it's hard. And then it's hard when you've got your speech all done and you've had to revise it into 5 minutes when it's over that. So we will get to the topics that you want to discuss as well, or brought up to the board. We just haven't got there yet. And because it's been a busy day, we haven't been able to email our board.
Or get our GoFundMe started.
Or get our
GoFundMe started.
If you don't know what that's about, go to the first video and watch it, and it'll explain everything that we're wanting the GoFundMe for, because we're not going to rehash that back out. But we just want you to know we are working on these things. We wanted to read those speeches so you could hear clearly some of the issues that are going on.
And we want you to know that we're advocating for teachers, parents, and children. We're advocating for all of them because someone has to.
Yeah.
Teachers can't speak out. They've been threatened. So, and anytime something happens with a student and a parent goes, they get brushed off, they hit walls. And so we're speaking out for the parents too. We're speaking out for the children that are going through all of these things and having these makeup hour retaliation things going on.
Yeah.
So we're advocating, and we want you to message us. If you have concerns, if you have things that you just want to talk about, we want you to message us. We want your involvement. We want to get people on board with this because we cannot be the only ones speaking out about this. I mean,
we know there's several of you that can't.
Yes.
As we've talked to some of you, but we know that you can't, and so
some we know that they just can't because there's just a lot of things that they can't talk about in public. So, and if you can't, you can't. But if you can, we pray that God gives you that fighting spirit.
Yeah.
And that you will come on board with us and really try to be the change. Really try to spark change in this community and in this school. Because
at the beginning, our main drive is not only the safety concern of our children, but it is communication. Between bridging that gap of communication between the school and parents, because there really is none. You could go up and talk to them, but
it goes nowhere.
It goes nowhere,
And you get no calls back. One thing we didn't go over was during these makeup hours that are so important. Our child was shown Dumb and Dumber 2. Now, I think it's a PG-13 movie, but it has a part in there where Jim Carrey goes under the sheets of an old lady and
things happen. You can go watch see it yourself on YouTube.
Yeah, I'm not going to go any further than that, but it's vulgar, and my kids are not allowed to watch that stuff in my house. And I was very angry once I found out. My husband went up there. Was the meeting I was mentioning that was before the board meeting when Lana had plenty of time to tell us what was going on with the agenda items. But he went up there to talk to her and tell her that this is unacceptable. Our children should not be watching this. And you guys, even if it says PG-13, you guys need to be screening these movies. Like, it's just, a no-brainer, right? Like, you screen the movies.
These are middle school children.
I screen the movies for my children at home. So why on earth would you not screen the movies for your children in school?
Yeah. And what was the response?
The response was that she was going to talk to them.
Right. But then what happened?
Nothing happened.
Yeah.
Nothing happened.
Now they have to sign up.
Nothing happened at first. We were told nothing. We were told absolutely nothing. But then my daughter went to makeup hours again. And then they were not allowed to watch movies because now you have to sign a parent consent form to watch any movies. Yeah. So they took it to the extreme. It's either extreme one way or extreme the other way.
So instead of just screening the movies and not letting inappropriate stuff in there, they chose to make parents sign permission slip forms so that they can watch whatever they want to watch. They'll just continue to watch whatever they want to watch, apparently. But you guys got to make sure you sign the form saying it's okay that they choose what your children watch. And so,
yeah, that just goes back.
wild.
I don't know. Anyways, it just goes back to some of the stuff that we already talked about, and the way that their transparency works, and the way that they don't.
We're happy she did something.
But the extreme one way or another way, this is the same thing about parent involvement. Is the extreme one way or extreme the other? They have a few people that cause some problems in the school, then all parents get cut out. All of us. Just a handful of people caused some problems at the school, then everyone got cut out. Why everyone got cut out? Why not cut out those people that caused the problem? It's extreme one way or extreme the other. This is what I'm saying. Like, we weren't telling them that they couldn't watch movies all together at school. We were saying, hey, screen your movies. Come on.
This isn't a hard ask.
No, screen your movies before you show it to the kids. But now, here we are. It's extreme the other way. So, I don't know what to do about that. And Lana never told us anything. We had to find out from our kids. Instead of her relaying the message. Again, breakdown of communication.
Yeah.
She could have at least told us that she did actually do something about it. But, I've heard from several people that they never hear back.
Yeah.
That when they go to her with issues, almost always they never hear back what happened.
Which makes parents feel like
Nothing's getting done.
And they don't matter.
Yeah.
It makes them feel like their concerns don't matter.
Well, if they're bringing
and we understand administration is extremely busy, so they don't all, but you can send an email, or, you could pick up the phone and call for 5 minutes and at least
if a parent
try.
is bringing you a concern, it's because they genuinely
It
want
is kind of your
something
job.
done about it.
But
And for you not to have any response at all, for you not to at least call and say, hey, I took care of it. I just want you to know everything's been handled. You don't have to give names. You don't have to say what you did. But to let us know that it's been handled and something did get done about it. That's what we're asking. We're asking for some type of communication back and forth.
Yeah.
We want communication. We want to be involved. We're tired of being nixed out of our children's lives in school.
And big decisions.
And in big decisions, for sure.
Right.
Like, we should have been consulted.
Before they decided to remove the principal job and
to give an assistant principal, we should have been consulted.
Yeah.
We should have had a town hall meeting before 4 days a week, so people could bring up their concerns about it. Because I'll be honest, I was one of those people that voted for it. I didn't realize all of the...
For the 4 day a week, you mean?
Yeah, for the 4 day a week. I mean, on their little vote thing that they did. I didn't realize the downsides to it. Had I been at a town hall meeting where they talked about it, the pros and cons would have been weighed out to us a lot better than just, hey, do you guys want to do this? You know?
And now we're seeing some kickback with that, we think, with the test scores and stuff like that.
Yes.
But,
on why she's saying...
We're not professionals, so...
Yeah, I don't know, but okay, guys, we'll wrap this up, and we thank you guys for watching. And again, if you want to reach out to us and you want it to stay private, know that it will stay private.
Yeah.
But if you want to reach out to us and you want to get involved, please let us know. We will tell you when our next parent meeting is going to be. And when our next meeting is going to be, where we are going to go and try to talk to some higher ups. So,
yeah.
All right. Thank you very much. Bye. Maybe not bye.